Listen, guys, today we're going to be, or this evening, we're going to be talking about this member of the Trump cabinet that came out and said that we, as the United States of America, have control over space and time. Now, if you've been watching me for a little while, first of all, hit the like button so we can get to the algorithm. I always ask you to hit the doggone button. Don't be a short bus rider. Don't be in for 5 minutes and then out. It's not like a quickie. You know what I'm saying? Don't be around here trying to have quickies. Hang out with your boy. Now, if you remember, we covered this exact same thing. Today's Wednesday, probably Thursday of last week, when you talked about DARPA and DARPA talking about superposition. Superposition is the ability to be in two places at the same time. And then the following week, they come out and they have that ability. But if you recall, the reason why we got to that point is because Donald Trump came out and said, we have weapons. We got weapons. So we're the most powerful country. Nobody's more powerful than us. We have weapons that people don't even know what they are. Remember? Look, take a listen.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But
hold on one second. We're about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And I'm here to talk to you about some of the wildest stuff, that you probably ever heard of. But if you're new to this channel, you probably never heard this. But if you've been on this channel, we just finished talking about superpositioning. How through DARPA, they have the ability to be in two places at the same time. And then within days of us going into the DARPA research on it, on this channel, and ladies and gentlemen, in the comments, have we not just talked about this? The White House science, whatever the hell he is, Michael Kretostis, the director of White House of Science and Technology, comes out and says, we have the ability to control space and time. We have the ability to control space and time. It's crazy. So when Donald Trump came out and Donald said, nobody, if you're talking about war, I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but we have weapons. We have weapons that nobody's ever heard of. We're the most powerful nation. We're the most powerful nation by far. We have weapons. Remember that comment? This the type of stuff he was talking about. But let me just take a listen.
The X-15's record still stands, and the Concorde was decommissioned more than 2 decades ago. Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong.
What the hell?
Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. As Vice President Vance said in a recent speech, the tradition of American innovation has been one of increasing the capacities of America's workers, of extending human ability so that more people can do more and more meaningful work. But unrestricted immigration and reliance on cheap labor, both domestically and offshore, has been a substitute for improving the productivity with technology. We can build in new ways that let us do more with less, or we can borrow from the future. We have chosen to borrow from that future again and again. Our choice as a civilization is technology or debt, and we have chosen debt. Today, we choose a better way. Our first assignment is to secure America's preeminence in critical and emerging technologies. This administration will ensure that our nation remains the leader in the industries of the future, with a strategy of both promotion and protection, protecting our greatest assets and promoting our greatest innovators. To the degree it even tried to accomplish this, the Biden administration failed on its own terms, led by a spirit of fear rather than promise. The old regime sought to protect its managerial power from the disruptions of technology, while promoting social divisions and redistribution in the name of equity.
Communism.
They secured American technology poorly and failed to strengthen our leadership at all.
Man, listen. I gotta explain something to you. This is what I love about why I love me some Jesus and why I love the Spirit of Truth, which is the Holy Spirit, because there were so many of them shows that I was like, man, I don't know what to do. Cover this, go this, click this, do this, look at this. And it's amazing that, I had to be like last Thursday or Friday we covered superpositioning from DARPA. And I think I talked about giants in space and all the different things. And so essentially what this gentleman just said was, under the Biden administration, America didn't give a damn about leading the world in technology. Under the Biden regime, they were more concerned with socialism and communism. And those days are over. We are back rip-roaring forward to lead the world in technology. Now, the truth of the matter is, quite frankly, we have been leading the world. And what it sounds like to me is we're getting ready to get some disclosure on some things. Now, stop, pause, do the beanie weenie. Oh, do the beanie weenie. Oh, do the beanie, do the beanie, do the beanie weenie. Do the beanie weenie. Oh, do the beanie weenie. Let's rewind back to the drone activity that was going on. And I was saying, hey man, these drones is doing some damage to the UFO field. That whole drone thing did so much damage to the field of UFOs, UFOlogy, that I didn't think that it could recover. Now I'm confident to say, ladies and gentlemen, that some of that stuff up there wasn't drones. Nope. I have ample evidence to say, based upon what he's saying, based upon what we studied from DARPA about superpositioning, that some of that stuff up there wasn't drones and it was owned by America. Unlike everybody else, I didn't come out and say, yeah, those are UFO. Look at the UFO. I don't draw my conclusions that quickly. But now I'm very confident in saying, yeah, we got some next level stuff. This man is telling you we have next level technology, meaning you could be here and here at the same time. I could be right there and right there at the same time. We talked about the biblical superpositioning, being seated in heavenly places with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ while simultaneously being here. For those who will see what DW never covered this, I'm just going to bring it back to your memory. And I said that science was catching up with what God had already done. Then there were people in the comments, yeah, I agree with you. Science is always catching up with what God has done. That's why real scientists who really get to the bottom of things, they go from being atheists to hardcore Christians. That's what ends up happening, because they're like, no, only God can do such a thing. Only God can make such a thing possible, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's fantastic. I wonder how many people are going to miss out on this dynamic truth bomb. How many people do you think are going to miss? Let's see what they said in the comments. Our technology permits us to manipulate time and space. The White House Director of Science and Technology just admitted that we have technologies that permit us to manipulate time and space. Comments. Breaking. Director of the White House basically admits we have UFOs. United States now control time and space, articulated by Michael Kratios, Director of Physicists. You can't just manipulate time and space, bro. White House, our technology enable us to manipulate time and space. No real comments. No real comments, just people just re-saying it. Nope. The real question is why now? Why now was he given permission to come out and make this statement? I'll explain to you why. Because we have war between Russia and the Ukraine, and he just met with Vladimir Putin for 5 hours, where they came out of the meeting and said, hey, Pooty Poot, you know, we understand what you want for peace. Then we have China over there talking reckless. Talking loud ain't really saying much or nothing. Got hit with a 245% tariff. And now is the time where you come out and let the dog bark. Roof. We control space and time. I mean, because there are people who may be threatening war, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll just go to war with America. Okay, you plan on going to war with us? Let me disclose something to you. We control space and time. Can you imagine what people are sitting there saying, like Macron or Xi Jinping or Zelensky, particularly Zelensky? What do they mean they control space and time? I am Zelensky, the actor. What do you mean you control space and time? No one can control space and time. No one. I'm Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine. Zelensky. That is I. I am he. I am she. We are they, them, Zelensky. The timing is perfect, in my opinion. I don't think you get any better timing than this. And it makes all the sense in the world. You want war? You got, because it normally goes currency war, trade war, world war. The only way you don't get to the world war phase is if someone has such overwhelming force and power that everybody says, I can't attack them. All the conversation is about nuclear war. The clock to nuclear war is ticking. The doomsday clock is ticking closer and closer to World War III, which really will be World War IV. The doomsday clock is ticking closer and closer to World War IV, ladies and gentlemen. We are 1 minute away from World War IV. Pump the brakes. Brr. Say, bruh, did they just say they control time and space? Now, you know what has to happen next? You know what has to happen next? A demonstration needs to happen next. Yeah, you can't make a statement like this without some form of a demonstration. So the issue is, ladies and gentlemen, who shall they demonstrate this on? The issue is who gonna F around and find out? Quite frankly, that is the issue at this point in time. Who is actually going to F around and find out? I know I wouldn't want to be the one to call the bluff and find out that you can control space and time. What does it actually mean? What are you talking about, sir? What does that mean? If I'm France, if I'm Britain, I'd be like, I don't think I want to play them kind of games. I get all my scientists together. What do they mean they control space and time? What the hell going on, man? Get in my office. What the hell is this boy over here talking about? What can they do? Well, sir, we don't know what they can do. Well, then scratch all the plans of playing games with them, man, because for all we know, they can rip a hole in space-time fabric. For all we know, they could go back in time and assassinate me to where I won't be here right now. I don't know what the hell they talking about. Yeah, but it makes sense when he said it. Watch this. Trump says we have weapons. But it puts it all in context, don't it? Now listen to what he's saying now. Watch what he said.
And we're very powerful.
And we're very
This
powerful.
country's very powerful.
We're very powerful.
Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But just
So that was on the 10th. He said that 6 days later, they come out and they explain what he means. We have weapons. We're powerful. We're very powerful. We have weapons that nobody has any idea what it is. I mean, really, let me just read what's on the screen. We have weapons that nobody has any idea what it is. Who says that? Well, what do you mean by that? And it's more powerful, and it is the most powerful weapon in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody. Not even close. What? What are you talking about, big homie? Somebody is recalculating their plan and their schemes and their machinations right now. Somebody's saying, okay, we were going to do A, and then it was going to go to B, and then we were going to C. Now they're saying, okay, scratch A, forget B, and screw C. That's what's happening in this moment right now all over the world. In fact, I submit to you, that's what's happening on the planet, with the kingdoms under the water, and with the kingdoms inside of the earth at this point in time. All of them are sitting there saying, okay, what the hell do they have their hands on? DW, let's talk about the Giants. Man, you don't never talk about the Giants. Well, what do you want to talk about the Giants? Yeah, I think that's a signal to all different kingdoms on the planet that we ain't about to be playing with y'all. All of them. All of them. Not just China, not just Russia. I think it's all of the kingdoms. The ones in the sea and the ones inside of there. DW, you think he talking about the ones on the other side of the ice wall? Yep, them too. If you believe they over there, he giving them warning too. Yeah, I'm telling everybody, anybody who wants the smoke, we got some smoke for you. We got some smoke for you. I'm telling you guys, this is probably going to be over the next 30 days. Well, let me just make this more clear. Let me slow down. When the example is made, we're going to have to look for the signs of it. I don't think it's just going to be like CNN's going to cover the crap. You know what I'm saying? We got to look for the signs of the examples that are being made. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We have to look for the signs that the example was made. And then when the example is made, we'll talk about it more. That's the best way to put it. So let's slow our road. But I wanted you to see that. I wanted you to hear about it. Now, I want to touch back upon Senator Chris Van Hollen. You know, there is something very wrong with this man. There's something very wrong with this concept and this idea that he will call that gentleman one of his constituents. That he said that he was going to visit one of his constituents. There's something wrong with this concept and this idea. This came to us today, and I don't take credit for it. It came via conversation before we did our noontime prayers. Why is everybody losing their mind about this particular person? Why is he so important? There was a whole bunch of them that were sent there. Why is this one person so important? You know the conclusion we came to? We came to the conclusion that maybe, just possibly, maybe, this was the person that was responsible for the death of Seth Rich. Remember Seth Rich? It's the only thing that would explain this vehement defense of this individual. If you look into the facts of it, it's clear that he was able to be deported. But why would you go or pretend to go or try to go to another country to try and save this person? Now, I'll say this, ladies and gentlemen, in America, in our prisons, in our government, we can't be doing no torture. So it might be kind of hard to extract information from an individual like that in the American prison system being detained by ICE. But as a terrorist in El Salvador, there's no telling what they're doing to him and what kind of information they're extracting from him. But if you recall, during the time period when Seth Rich died, Alex Jones was saying that Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton, you remember, Nancy Pelosi was saying that MS-13 are children of God. And there were rumors that they had their own army, which was MS-13. And then years later, there's this great contention over this individual. It's the only thing that actually makes sense as it pertains to this person. Because the damage that's being done to their brand publicly, defending him, I mean, you can't undo this. Like you just can't. Take a listen.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment, so it cannot continue this way. I also told his wife and family that I would try to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia while I was here. So I asked the vice president if I could meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. And he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen.
That's hold on. This is idiotic. So you flew all the way down there. They make a phone call prior to getting there. I just don't get it. It's just stupid. I mean, it really is stupid. So you went down there for a photo op, is what you did. You know what I'm saying? You went down there for a photo op. Meanwhile, let's just see the kind of stuff that he's standing for.
A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything to hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know. But when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts, where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did
Juxtaposition to this clown.
I asked, he said he needed a little more time. I asked him if I came back next week, whether I'd be able to see Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he couldn't promise that either. So I asked him if I could get on the phone, either video phone or just a phone, and talk to Mr. Abrego Garcia. So I could just ask him how he's doing so I could report back to his family. He said he could not arrange that. He said maybe if the American embassy were to ask, maybe that could happen. So I will certainly ask the American embassy to ask the government of El Salvador to connect us by phone.
Back to the reality.
the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures. There's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in. Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib.
Back to the clown. I mean, when you bring it down to the reality of what these people are defending, it's heart-wrenching. I mean, in this, every time they run their mouths, people should play that. Every time CNN runs their mouth, play their mothers. It should be CNN talking, pause, mother talking. MSNBC talking, pause, mother talking. The View talking, pause, mother talking. About the reality, not the politics, not the political games, not the political strategy, the hardcore reality of what has happened and what is happening and what's currently happening. Well, DW, you don't know that that's happening anymore. Oh, really? Oh, really? I tell you, keep watching the waters because the waters be watching for you. Oh, really? Watch this. Breitbart News. Screw Boasberg. We're not gonna worry about Boasberg. Let's just go serial killer. Can somebody spell serial killer from S-E-I? Give me 1 second. There was an article today that came out. It was here. No. It wasn't on Breitbart. It was on Gateway Pundit. Give me a second. Thank you, Lord, for reminding me. While these judges sitting here playing games, there are serial killers on the loose in New England. It's got to be here somewhere. Give me a second. That's the elderly woman with the voodoo that was getting killed. That's Genesis Gold Group. This is the director getting fired. This is Ron DeSantis. So we're getting closer to this morning. Let's go to page 2. Here it is. There she blows, ladies and gentlemen. There she blows. Watch this. Creepy. Fears growing that New England towns are being targeted by a serial killer. Is there a serial killer hunting in small towns across New England? A growing number of people believe This is happening. Human remains have been discovered in various places in the region, and there is enough evidence to suggest that the crimes are connected. It's creepy to think that there is some evil person out there stalking and killing people for no reason, but studies have shown that there are serial killers operating the country at any given time. They won't tell you how many, but there's quite a few. Every once in a while, law enforcement connects the dots on a certain case and speculation grows. One of these days, I'm going to tell you guys a story about the one who contacted me very early when I started and wanted to tell stories. And I said no. I said I will have nothing to do with that. Nothing whatsoever. Then there were a few threats that were made, and I was like, very well, don't miss. That's all I can say to you. Fear, gorgeous New England towns are being stalked by a serial killer after 3 women found dead. Fears are mounting that a serial killer is stalking quaint New England towns after the remains of 3 women, 1, 2, 3, were found and spanned 6 weeks. So we got 3 women found in 6 weeks across Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. On March 6th, now you know you're not going to get the details of this because they won't release the details because they're probably investigating it. But nonetheless, on March 6th, the remains of 35-year-old Paige Fannin of West Islip, New York, turned up in New Haven. Her body had been found in the fast-moving Norwalk River the night after a heavy deluge. On March 21st, police found another set of human remains, later confirmed to be missing 59-year-old mother to Denise Leary. On March 25th, Rhode Island State Police found another set of remains in a wooded area of Foster, which were later identified to be 56-year-old missing Michelle Romano. After several sets of identified remains have also been located. Several other sets of identified remains have also been located in New England towns during a similar time period. Several other sets. There's something very peculiar about how this is written. Several other sets. Sets. To me, a set is 2. Set and pair, right? You know, means more than, they're not telling everybody that were found. If we reread it again, boom, 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 boom. On March 25th, found another set of remains in a wooded area in Foster. Unless it's so decomposed that we're just talking about bones, then I can see it as being a set of bones. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't care to dig. It would be easier to determine. Let's just see. Let's just see what they mean by sets. Let's see how long she's been missing. Yes. So investigators say, I can understand the terminology sets now. Investigators said Michelle Romano, 56, was reported missing by family members to Warwick Police on August 18th. So we're in April. So I can see it being a set of remains. You get what I'm saying? I can understand why they're describing the term, using the terminology set.
Police have identified the body of a woman found in the woods off a road in Foster. I'm Dan Janey.
And I'm Patrice Wood. Police have identified her as 56-year-old Michelle Romano. Her family has been looking for her for months. NBC 10's John Kayak is live from Warwick, where she lived. John?
Patrice and Dan, we're here on Hazard Avenue. Now, police tell us this was her neighborhood. Family first reported her missing to authorities back in August. Her remains were found last Wednesday in the woods off of Plainfield Pike. That's over in Foster. Now, our cameras were there while police were collecting evidence. Police say Romano's death is suspicious in nature, and it's still unclear how she died. And anyone with any further information is asked to contact state police. We're live here in Warwick for now. John Kayak, NBC 10 News.
I hate digging in the depths, but since we here.
Is a new top dog in Johnston. K9 Hansa joined the police force just this week.
What the hell? What make you think I want to know about the K9? All right. I hate looking in the depths, but let's just see. 36-year-old Paige, 35-year-old Paige, barreling. Okay. $59-year-old Denise Leary. All right, so 2 black chicks, 1 white chick missing. Whoever this is, they don't give a damn. They just targeting anybody there is. I don't know what kind of profile that is. Well, I kind of got an understanding what kind of profile that would be. But I'll say this to you. It doesn't behoove a nation to be allowing criminals into that nation. This is the kind of thing you get when you allow criminals into your nation, when you allow the worst of the worst into your nation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are things that must be done. There are things that can't be done. And there are things that have to be done.